Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! What's going on? All my scallywags, nutmeggers, conversationalists, young, old, in between, and of course my haters, you wonderful, wonderful haters. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. Alex Q in the house, first in, and of course we got TJ Duarte from Future So Bright. He'll be actually joining us. I think I got to get a date for him. But, you know, we're bringing him in every month to talk to him about what he's doing. Michael B. in the house. Sam the man on the street. All in the chat room. Scallywags all. All of them. Scallywags. By the way, look that up. I'm actually working on a T-shirt of one of the first Scallywags. I've got the imagery on my phone, and I'm setting the whole thing up, but I'll show you guys in due course what they look like. By the way, Roland, did you see the T-shirts that were in there for you? Yeah, those are yours. Those came in from Lori. So she said that, and she is, you know, Scallywag as well, and part of the Reese on the Radio research department. She showed up this morning or early this afternoon, and she brought you 3 T-shirts. As well as 3 for me. I'll be showing them later on. And you can as well. Send us your T-shirts of your local business. And let me explain to you why we're doing this. You know, we had a meeting here at the station not too long ago. And that sort of inspired me in a new way about an old conversation I had during the holiday store. And we met with someone from the business chamber, or I can't remember the guy's name, but I know he was part of the business industry or the Chamber of Commerce in Hartford. And he was a guest on the show, and I'm going to find his card, and I apologize for forgetting his name. But, you know, he said that one of the biggest problems we have here in Connecticut is that we really don't promote or encourage a lot of local business in Connecticut. And I said, you know what? This is a big platform. And it is important that we do our part. Brian does it as well, which I think is great. The Darting Across Connecticut is another great way to promote local businesses out there. We go on site. Well, he goes on site, and he does a live broadcast from those businesses, and it does gangbusters for those businesses. It's a great way to promote these folks. So what we thought, or what I thought, was, hey, just send us your T-shirt. We'll rock it on the air. It's 4 hours of me wearing your shirt on the air. And, of course, I'll give you a nice little shout-out as well. Send us a note, too. Tell us what you like about the show. Hell, tell me what you don't like. I'll read it. But we'll still wear your shirt. And I think it's an opportunity. So I hope you take us up on it. Send it here to 10 Executive Drive in Farmington, Connecticut, WTIC, and just, attention, Reese on the radio. And we'd love to. Again, I'm a large, and Roland wears a double XL, or 2X, as they say. So do that. That's right. Everybody says 2X for Roland. OU812 is also in the house. Maria is in the house as well, or as Maria likes to call me, her boyfriend. Elaine is in the house. John Beckman all the way out west. Kelly as well, and Carmela, whom we love. Carmela is already incorporated the term garbaggio in her home.
Or, as we say in Italian, garbaggio.
That's right, garbaggio. I was thinking about this today. There are all of these people from communist or socialist countries that are doing podcasts talking about how the young people do not know what they are asking for when they say they want socialism. And I keep asking the question, does any of this ever does it ever make a dent in the socialists? Right? So, they're online just as much as anyone else. I mean, they are keyboard warriors. So I know they're seeing these videos of these people coming from Korea, from China, from former Yugoslavia. They give a very vivid story. Hey, Peter Lamage, running for Secretary of State, who's going to be a guest here, I think Thursday, talks vividly about his experience as a young man fleeing his country. And you ask yourself, how are these stories not resonating with these people? And I'm sorry, I hate to hurt people's feelings here. It's not that they don't. They clearly understand what you've gone through and understand your pain. But there's something else going on that needs to be focused on. And look, maybe eventually someone will get around to saying, hey, you should listen to Reese on the radio about this. Not that I want the fame for it. I want you to recognize what I am telling you. They do not see socialism the way that Peter Lamage talks about it. You have to understand who these people are to get through to them. And who they are people who care and are moral. You see, that's why they think their brand of socialism is better than the tyranny that you are describing. See, when you keep saying what form of socialism ever worked in the country or in any country across the globe, they can't answer you. Why? They don't care to. Because what they dream of or what they've dreamt of is not that. Even though it is. Don't get me wrong. It is. I have all of that explained here. So let's start with the base of all of this. When you as a communist, Marxist, socialist are expanding on those things from a moral superiority, you are not going to listen to anybody else because everyone else is a liar, a cheat, a thief, an evildoer. They think that they are righteous in what they want. And remember, they care. That's the most important thing. They care. And if you don't care, bad person. That's the way you have to do it. You can tell them all day, of course I care about other people. I care about their prosperity. And then their argument is, well, what about people who can't be prosperous? And you go, well, I feel bad for them, but, they just have to work harder. But it's not right. Some of them can't. It's every excuse in the book. And they go, we just believe that we should help them all. All of us could join together and help everyone. The rising tides lift all boats kind of deal. All right, whatever. And when you have that attitude, you have to understand that they are willing to do anything to get it. So what I would like to ask socialists, liberals, progressives even, who listen to this program, conservatives, I know how you're going to answer this. It's almost predictable because, again, this is not rocket science to you. But I want you to all think about what I'm asking here. Can there be tyranny for the good? Because that is the basis for their rule. What they want is a good tyranny. A tyranny baked in social justice. They're okay with it. Everything is transactional, transitional. If you think that they wish to create a level playing field, oh, hell no. The bad people must pay for the good people who have been punished. It's a transfer of power. And once they get the power, they will do the thing that they have accused the other side of doing forever. It's always going to be payback. Now, I know there are some liberals who are going, that's not true, Reese. Is it? Let me run a few things by you then. What happens when your utopia, if you were to get everything you want, what happens when your utopia does not lift all boats? What happens? When people have been taxed to the hilt, when they give up their 70 to 90 to 95% of their wealth, and it still does not lift people out of poverty, and there are still people who are starving, who remain without homes, or a roof over their head, or affordable anything. What happens then? When you can take no more, when you've taken a majority of everything, what must you do? Because there is no certainty that your idea is going to be foolproof. We know that. There are far too many people here, and there isn't even enough money to take. So what do? Do you give everything away for free? Let's take healthcare, for instance. This is my favorite topic. So everyone needs healthcare, and it must be affordable. And it must be subsidized because, again, doctors and nurses and practitioners must be paid. But they can't possibly remain on the same pay scale, can they? That has to be in some way controlled. So, what's going to change that outcome as more people need these healthcare services? Someone must become a slave. They must provide the healthcare for minimal or no cost. Therefore, the practitioner makes little to no money. Because remember, as a doctor, what doctors get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. Healthcare costs are through the roof because of equipment, technology, medication. All of those things have to be capped somewhere. Remember, you got rid of the capitalist system. Eventually, there must be tyranny for the good. The doctors cannot charge you the thing that they would normally charge you for. So, in essence, they become a slave. Now, it's incremental. Don't get me wrong. It's, spattering here and there. Consuela can't pay her bills at all. She's an illegal. She makes no income. She's on welfare. Everything in her life is subsidized. But she needs surgery. And we are guaranteeing her health care, aren't we? In your utopia. Who's paying for it? And if they are paying for it, how much are they paying for it? In order to really work this out, the doctor can say this surgery costs, let's say, I'm just throwing out a number, $50,000 to get it done. Okay, who's paying for it? You have to get the money somewhere. And once you've run out of the money, again, the health care is still needed. So again, how does the doctor get paid, if at all? Do you cap the amount of money he can charge for said surgery? Or do you now force him to perform the surgery? Because again, he is a healer. Do you force him to give this universal health care for nothing? Why not? That's exactly what you would have to do. Same thing's going to happen to grocery stores, isn't it? Same thing's going to happen to housing. How do you pay for things like maintenance? Let's say you do. Let's take Mamdani's idea where the government takes over all of the housing in New York City. Removes the slumlords, as he thinks, the landlords who are making a fortune owning these companies, and now it's owned by the government. Well, somebody can't pay for plumbing. The government's going to have to pay for it because the government has provided it. Sanitation, all of those things. Who's paying for it? How are you paying the workers? No one is no one's creating a revenue stream here to pay for people who are going to maintain said homes. What will happen? You know what will happen. It'll look like a project. Urine-filled hallways. Right? What about maintenance on elevators? What about maintenance on a building? These things will absolutely wane. Companies will just say, hey, man, I'm not getting paid enough to do this. I can't maintain a business. And as those businesses fade out, it'll be 1, 2, maybe 3, government-owned businesses to do those, and they'll be scattered all over the city. The waiting list to get those repairs done will be years. And people will continue to live in squalor. Again, tyranny for the good. Because according to these people, again, they hate the fact that anyone would profit from these things, be it healthcare, construction, businesses, that millionaires and billionaires, people who earn a profit, is bad. So in order to cease and desist from any and all of that, there must be tyranny. And their opening salvo, their saving grace will always be to you. It's for the good. I'll talk about this a little bit more when we return. Stand by. I'll give you a couple more examples of why this is they're going about this all the wrong way. That's what I'm trying to tell you. When you're trying to express to these young people why their socialism and their utopia visions are all out of phase. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
We're back. Reese on the radio. Luke Bronin, Barbara Fair on the program today. Former mayor of Hartford, Luke Bronin, will be on the program at 4 o'clock, sitting right across from me there. And Barbara Fair, who has been the foremost frontline individual on getting the release of the J. Allen Jones tape from out of the hands and the clutches of William Tong, will be here on the program at 5 o'clock. We'll talk to her about the frustration she has with those who are usually in the protest space, who have given her no help in all of this, in getting justice for J. Allen Jones. It's literally been a blip on the radar in most cases. So we'll talk to her here. I want to show her some respect because it's because of her that guys like, Mark Walsh, of course, Mark from West Hartford, he'll be joining us, by the way, at 3:35 on an update that you don't want to miss. But he was one of the people who got that information from Barbara Fair, got it to me, and, of course, me getting it to you on that story. And we've been very much involved in getting that video released, which it has been, but it's still been no attention given to the story. So she'll be here to talk about where that process is as well. Let me take James real quick in Newington. How you doing, sir?
Hey, good to talk to you, Reese. One thing I like about your show is the long-form radio allows us to kind of educate Connecticut residents about things that will never really be covered on the foreign news or the news in our state. So I want to deal with the economy in Connecticut as how it relates to the Iran war right now. Most people do not understand, because they don't talk about it, that Iran is in a partnership, an alliance with China and Russia. Mm-hmm. And both of them do not want this war to end. Russia is losing the Ukraine war right now.
Right.
They're losing it. And China has lost, with Trump in power, the control of Venezuela and all the rare earth materials. There's incredible rare earth minerals in Venezuela that China wanted to get its hands on because they already control about 60% of the world's supply. Mm-hmm. And now that Trump took out Maduro, they can see that the dominoes are falling. Cuba is about to fall and come back into American orbit. So I want people to understand that when Trump is trying to negotiate, doesn't matter how we got into this Iran situation,
right.
We're there.
Right. And, you know, it's a good point to make in all of this because, as you just pointed out, the news media only wants the headline structure of the entire story. Oh, we're back in war with Iran again. But not understanding there is a geopolitical lane that all of this flows through. And as you just pointed out, the China people, in fact, when I had Gordon Chang on the program, he pointed out that I was 100% right. And of course, because I listened to Gordon Chang, he knows that what Iran was and is, if there's anything, they are the pit bull to Russia and China.
Yes, they're a vassal state.
Yes.
Almost all their oil is being sold to China. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that this is important, like you're 100% there. We all know that gentleman you just talked about is an absolute genius about U.S.-China interactions in terms of our long-term foreign policy. But this is also why people do not understand that every time Trump thinks he has a deal, Iran launches a couple of missiles.
Right.
It is because they want Trump to lose the Republican majority in the House of Representatives.
Exactly.
They know that the Democrats have no plan of anything except to impeach President Trump for a third time and have him wasting his time fighting them instead of fighting for America. Such a
good point. That, again, people not recognizing or understanding, as I said, do you remember when I said this, James, a long time ago? In fact, I've said it so many times, people are probably sick of it. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was being interrogated by one of the Black Ops guys, and he tells it on 60 Minutes, is that this guy understood that when he was being waterboarded, he told the guy who was waterboarding him that your American liberal media will hate you for what you've done to me. And the guy was saying, that's insane. You're the architect of 9/11. He goes, no, mark my words. And boy, was he right. Because that's the whole idea, is that they understand America so much that they hold out these things because they are waiting for America to do what it always does, capitulate to the terrorists.
Yes, and now here's the last part about the economy in Connecticut and why our 2 Democratic senators and our 5 representatives fighting against Trump actively are stopping middle-class jobs from coming to our wonderful state. Right now, we are in desperate need of missile components. We're way behind in the rest of the world's race to get up to speed. And here we have Pratt & Whitney. We have Electric Boat. We have all of the supply shops all down Windsor and Windsor Locks and Enfield and the machine shops in New Britain. And all of them, if our senators would stop fighting Trump and our representatives would stop fighting and say, look, we know that there's government money right now for new tooling. By new tooling, I mean high-end machines to manufacture these missiles to certain tolerances. I made aircraft parts in high school. I did that as a part-time job. You need to have equipment that is ordered, and that equipment costs $1 million a machine. And we need to look to the federal government and say, we're on your side for America. But they only care about the next election, and if they get in office, none of them could actually even figure out how to get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich out of a paper bag. They have no leaders.
100% right. James, thank you. I appreciate all of it. You got it, buddy. Oh, I appreciate him saying all of that. That's a great stuff. So I want to finish up with this thing that I was talking about in the opening monologue, right? So the tyranny of good. And that's, again, the crazy part of this monologue is that when you have someone who believes what they're doing is for the greater good, what are they willing to do it? Now, you've already got a group of people who hate everything. They have no moral compass, right? It's interesting to watch these people who believe they are righteous. and at the same time can mock the death of Charlie Kirk, or more recently, Lindsey Graham. They can mock those deaths because those people are evil, and then say everyone else is good, and that's who they're looking out for. And your, I guess, pushback to that is evil because you dare question their morality. If you don't want to feed the poor, you're evil. Well, I do want to feed the poor. I feed them all the time. But yeah, you don't want to feed all the poor. Then it becomes this argument about what kind of poor you want to feed. You want to feed the Christian poor because you're a Christian nationalist. You probably don't care about the poor blacks. What? I care about the poor. Now we're breaking them into subsets or yes, of course. Now, what you're willing to do, think about that kind of hatred for groups of people because you don't agree with them, the kind of hatred they would have. Ask yourself if you believe they are willing to let you slide after they take over. Someone has to be punished because, again, you will never go willingly. That's the whole point. And as I expressed yesterday about control, you have to look at all these things that use the word control. You guys think that it's a joke when these guys use the word control. I take it for exactly what it means. Control means controlling you. Not the gun, not the health care, not the anything. It's control of you. And soon, there'll be things like food control. We control who gets food. We'll control who makes money. We'll control who makes a profit. You don't think, by the way, you don't think that's what they want. What do you think taxing millionaires and billionaires is? That's controlling how much money you make. Right? Isn't it? How's it not? When they tell you that they don't believe that there should be billionaires, okay, what does that mean? I don't believe that a person should be allowed to make this much money. Okay, well, how do you cap that? That means that someone has to control it. And if you're in charge, you get to tell people how much they're allowed to make. How is that not tyranny? But it's tyranny for the good. That's their excuse for all of it. New York State Socialist tax pushes millionaires out, leaving Mayor Mamdani and the DSA in a funding bind. A Citizens Budget Commission report shows that New York's share of all U.S. millionaires, those earning more than $1 million a year, dropped from 12.7% in 2010 to 8.7%. This is a steeper decline than any other state. In more recent years, the state's highest earners have been leaving at a faster rate than its lowest earners. This creates a direct problem for Zoran Mamdani and the Democrat Socialists of America. Their political message centers on attacking millionaires and billionaires for squeezing working people. Yet their agenda requires those same high earners to pay significantly higher taxes to bankroll new social programs. Now I ask, if the answer is to leave New York City and the progressives or the socialists or the communists or the Marxists seek to control it all, you're not going to be allowed to move anywhere. The more you move and the more that they spread, tyranny comes with them. Soon you'll be able to go nowhere. That's the plan. You'll have to leave the country. And I want to understand it from all the progressives, from all the socialists, from all the Marxists and all the communists. I want to know, what exactly are you saying? Is it tyranny? And how can it not be? Isn't that the end goal? I mean, again, just explain it to me. I think I know better, and I think I've nailed this. That's okay. You know what? We'll ask Luke Bronin when he gets here. He's a tax the rich guy. We'll ask him. Stand by for that. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio. Ooh, about to get up out of here into the next hour and traffic and all that other good stuff. Top of the hour news. There's a reason why, Bob J., you should listen to the program every day, but I know you can't. You should. You should listen every day. You know that Lindsey Graham died over the weekend, and if you listened to the show yesterday, which it's clear you did not, you would have heard me say that I like when people are honest when they talk about individuals after they've passed, right? So I said people who were saying that Lindsey Graham was, the lion of the Senate, like Cory Booker was talking about how he's a hero of the Senate, and I just said, come on, dude, you said horrible things about him. You're not even honest. And then I said just now about people who mock the death of Charlie Kirk. Mocking it? Yes, like pretending to be shot in the neck. That's mocking the death. If you're talking about Donald Trump, which I love it that you cannot help yourself, Donald Trump said, and I'll read your quote, Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. And I did open my mouth. The first thing, and again, which is, I know you don't listen to the show every day, right? Exactly what I said. I said, Donald Trump is being Donald Trump. Did I wish that he had said something else? Of course. But he felt that Robert Mueller was personally trying to charge the man with treason, which is going, as a result of that, would be death. So his animus towards Robert Mueller was personal. Personal. What would you say about somebody who tried to destroy your life after they died? We're talking about people saying something about Charlie Kirk, and they had absolutely no direct contact with him. Donald Trump had a personal animus to Robert Mueller, a guy who tried to destroy his life. So spare me. These people are silly. Anyway, again, listen every day. Okay? Stop slacking. Get your butt here every day. You ever want to call me on something, you got to be here every day to do it. But, you can't be. I understand. Anyway, what was I going to say? Let me see. Oh, I got a message from, I want to read this real quick. Difficult question. Ask him about this. Okay, I may look into this, Ruddy. Let me get a chance to read that. By the way, Ruddy is talking about Luke Bronin being on the program. Former mayor of Hartford is going to be here on the program. We'll talk to him about his tenure in Hartford as the mayor, also his run against John Larson, about why he believes he should be the next representative in the place of John Larson, and a whole bunch of other stuff. He has some things on his website that I want to ask him about in particular. In fact, I'll read it because I know they're listening, so maybe I'll give them a little heads up on the question. It says a note from Luke. It reads, our country is in crisis. We're witnessing unprecedented corruption, abuse of power, and an all-out assault on our Constitution. Our government isn't working, and for too long, most Americans have felt like our country isn't working either. They're right. We need to defeat Trump and the MAGA movement, but being against Trump isn't enough. We need to put forward a clear agenda and deliver. Here are some of my thoughts and priorities from combating corruption and bringing down costs. So we'll talk to him about that note when he arrives. But I've got some deeper questions about something he's been very vocal on, and that is ICE, especially with the recent shooting involving ICE, where an ICE officer allegedly was rammed by a car. I just heard a report, or at least I saw on Fox, that the ICE is now telling ICE agents to tamper down pulling over vehicles. In essence, stop, accosting people in vehicles because it may deem more dangerous. And I think that's, it's an interesting thing. James said something that was very telling in what we're seeing in our body politic is that these people are willing to put their lives at risk for the PR that comes with being shot. I mean, you think about that, right? So what does the media do when ICE officers have to use deadly force from people who are using deadly force on them? The media turns the story into ICE agent shoots a person on the street during one of their exercises, and the story becomes about ICE agent bad, not about what dangers they were under. Very much like the whole, Palestinian-Israeli conflict. They launch a missile from a school. Israel targets the school because the missile launcher's there, and, they blew up the school. Can you believe it? Yeah. And that's the only thing you hear. This is kind of the same tactic. It's used everywhere. Anyway, it's like Saul Alinsky's rule for radicals. Anyway, top of the hour coming up. When we return, I want to talk about CNBC and its efforts to help Democrats win the midterm elections with got to be the most bogus list that they've ever come up with. And after that, Mark Walsh reports on a story you got to hear when we return. It's Reese on the Radio.
Reese on the Radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
There we go. Couldn't even hear myself. Anyway, we're back. Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080. And Mark Walsh coming up real soon. Of course, you know him as Mark from West Hartford. On X, he will be here for Mark Walsh Reports. And he has some very disturbing information with regards to Sayo, the immigrant who was detained by ICE and then returned to his family in West Hartford. Mark's been doing some digging on the restaurant in West Hartford, and he'll have that report for you in short order. See what I just did there? Anyway. So, desperation is out there, folks. And the desperation is palpable from Democrats in and around the country. And that's because they know they have lost their way. I told you after the 2024 election that Democrats are going to have to make a decision. Are they going to moderate, in essence, come more to the center, or go full bore to the left? Well, you have your answer. Just today, we had Johanna Hayes talking about colonialism on the House floor. We had another representative talking about how DEI is important in our medical fields. Yeah, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're still having that debate. Apparently so. Right? Even after the 2024 election. Now, of course, they're embracing socialism, Marxism, communism, even in some cases. They're talking about the removal of ICE agents, the Senate, even the president. They wished for black and indigenous people to tell the rest of us how we should live. I kid you not. I kid you not. But with all of those things, they know that the Democrat Party has kind of run out its welcome because it doesn't know what it is. It's like the Democrat Party is so unidentifiable. It is like asking you what a woman is to a Democrat. They don't seem to know who they are. And they will do things like, oh, we're a big tent party. We're this, we're that. We're everything. Master of, what is it? I forget what, darn it. Why am I forgetting the darn term? A jack of all trades, a master of none. That's it. They can be anything and everything all at the same time, even if those things contradict themselves. They don't care. They don't care. There's no rhyme or reason. I've said this often enough, and people, again, have poo-pooed it. Democrats are the party of anarchy. And that's, in essence, what they want is anarchy. If there are no rules but theirs, right? And what are their rules? Anything goes. Right? You want to be a man and you want to go to a woman's space? Yeah, go in a woman's space. If you want to be a man and you want to play in, you don't get enough trophies as a boy in soccer. Pretend to be a girl and you'll get all of them. And you'll play in the women's leagues and you win them all. It's anarchy. Up is down, down is up. Do they care? No. So with all of that, knowing that, by the way, there is no favorability of any of this nonsense in the mainstream, right? All of this stuff is whack job, crazy, nutso stuff. You have publications doing what can only be described as moronic. CNBC put a 2026 America Top States for Business study. They put this out. And the results will make you laugh. CNBC released its annual America's Top States for Business on July 11th. In the quality of life portion, and the 10 worst states were all red states. Tennessee ranked dead last, followed by Texas, Indiana, Louisiana, Georgia, Utah, Missouri, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. The network scores quality of life on crime rates, air quality, health care, child care costs, and availability, plus state laws on inclusiveness and reproductive rights. This year, the category was weighted at 11.6% of the overall score. That's up from about 10% previously. The U.S. Census Bureau data shows that several of the same states gaining population, Texas, added more than 67,000 residents in the most recent period measured, while Tennessee gained over 42,000 people. Critics quickly pointed out the contrast with population losses in some high-tax progressive areas. In some quality of life rankings, Connecticut finished 5th nationally with an A- grade. The state earned strong marks on having the 3rd lowest violent crime rate and the lowest illicit opioid use in the country, and high rates of dental visits. Air quality was cited as a weakness. Yeah, in Connecticut, folks. The analysis, the CNBC list is not a neutral measurement of livability. It bakes progressive policy preferences directly into the quality of life score through the inclusiveness and reproductive rights factors. These are not objective data points like crime statistics or air quality readings. They are ideological litmus tests that dock points from states maintaining traditional definitions of sex in law, parental rights, or gender issue restrictions on gender issues or restrictions on abortion, or lower minimum wages and lighter worker mandates. So in essence, if you are a right to work state, you will be voted as one of the worst states in the country. But if you have abortion, you're up there. And this was all done, again, by what's considered a reputable source, CNBC, as an effort to do what? To tell people that, look at all these great blue states where people are leaving in droves. They're really great to live, folks. Like, these are the things that people care about. That people are moving to states based upon things like abortion access. Now, I would love to know who the dum-dum is who thinks that people are moving to a place because they get to get an abortion there. Because in my head, I'm saying to myself, okay, you got to live there 365 days a year. How many abortions do you need access to? Come on. Even if you're a promiscuous person. How many? Come on. Just come back. Just tell me. If that is a deciding factor on where you're going to move, Come on. Now, I know that there are some of these women who show up at these rallies in Washington, D.C., and they get on stage, and they're like, I've had 7 abortions. And some of you are just going, ugh. By the way, no guy has ever found that attractive, ladies. Just so you know, no guy has ever turned around and said, yeah. I got to hook up with her. No guy has ever said it. Not ever. Not even once. I know you guys are sitting up there thinking to yourself, well, no, not at all. Anybody who would brag about that. I mean, oh, God, I have a horrible story about this. This woman said to me one day during the COVID era, I was going to her home for a consultation to make a decision on whether or not I was, one, going to do the job and whether or not my pricing was right. So I got there, and it was at the height of people getting the vaccination. And I showed up. I didn't have a mask, and the woman did, of course, a black woman. And she comes to the front door, and she looks at me, and she goes, hi, how are you? And I said, I'm fine. And she goes, and you're here for? I'm like, I'm here to assess your home for the move. And she goes, oh, thank you. And she goes, have you been vaccinated? And I looked her square in the face, and I said, have you had an abortion? She said, excuse me? And I said, yes, ma'am. With all due respect, asking me whether or not I've been vaccinated is like asking me if I have HIV. It's a violation of my rights to ask me if I've my medical history. And she was like, oh. It's a cruel thing to do, but I didn't care. But we did get the job. I will. I did get the job. Sometimes you just got to be honest. Don't compromise your principles for work. Don't do that, especially if you're on your own business. Don't compromise your principles. I will give her props, though, because she did get me in the end. She did not tip. But what the heck? I overcharged her. I'm teasing. No, I did not. That would have been cruel. Yeah, so it's interesting that these folks are trying to do everything they can to support blue states when they know that they're I mean, why lie? It's incredibly ridiculous of all things to do. You know what? Well, he's going to be calling up anyway. We'll call him up in the next half hour. And we'll talk to him. Let me read some of these real quick. Nope, that was nothing. Oh, rumors going around that another Democrat pandemic is coming prior to the next election. Did you hear that, really? I've heard things like that like a year ago, but I didn't think that was gaining much steam. So I'll look into that. I thought that was weird. Bob is talking about this. And by the way, I'm still, can I put this to bed? Bob J says, Donald Trump said that he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan and his followers would still follow him. That's the one time he told the absolute truth. Well, let me tell you what he said, just so you can get the quote right. He said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and my polling numbers would go up. That's what he said. And for those who say stupid things like, that's the truth. Really? How? How is it true? Did he shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and the poll numbers went up? Tell me how it's a fact. Someone saying something is now truth because he said it. Oh, that was true. Where's your evidence that it's true? And I can't take people seriously who still make that quote. I can't. I just can't. You're not a serious person if you're repeating that nonsense. Okay? So, and you have to do better. I know that this is the talk inside the hood. This is the kind of stupid conversations that happen in the inner city. They're not serious people. None of them are. Okay? These guys know nothing about politics, and they really think that people say something, and in some way that's evidence of something. Okay? I could say tomorrow I will shoot a rainbow out of my butt. Okay? That doesn't mean that, whoa, we're still waiting, Reese. You have to prove it now. anyone who actually wants to hold me to that ridiculous statement, okay, just stop. Seriously, I can't take you seriously. It's the most, it's infantile, childish, and I don't know. I can't stop. I used to make fun of it, but now it's annoying. It just is. So please stop repeating it. You know what he meant. And it's what we call something said in jest. What the point he was trying to suggest was he was so amazed by his polling numbers going up that they were unstoppable, that he could do something so reprehensible as shoot someone in the street and they would go up. He was giving an analogy in saying so. Not that, oh my goodness, he could shoot someone. It's just like the when you're famous, you can grab them by the comment. Not that he had done it, because there's no evidence of that, but simply saying it now makes it a fact. Do you get my point? So again, when people cite these things, you have to understand how unserious you are. That is not tantamount to him saying that he's done it. He is suggesting that these women who are groupies, they are unscrupulous individuals. And you know who they are. You've seen them at basketball games. You've seen them at rock concerts. You've seen them at R&B and hip-hop concerts. Women who will do ghastly things in order to get into a room with one of these people. Nothing he said was a lie. It doesn't make it less true or less reprehensible that it is true. But saying it is not the crime, although you'd like to make it so. Donald Trump said it, so it must be. Stop it. It's clown show. You make yourself look silly. And in fact, the rest of us standing around and we look at us like, I heard what he said. And you immediately estimated that to be something that it doesn't. You should be better than that. So. Yeah, whatever he said, the bottom line is I'm repeating the exact point. Yes, he's saying that he is so popular. Yes, right. Yeah. He's making an analogy. I'm so popular, I could do this. You know? Thank goodness for reasonable voice on these, Kamala. Yeah, it's such a great point. Again, Kamala Harris on Montel Williams' arm when nobody knew who she was. Huh? I don't even want to get into that. This isn't I don't have to be his press secretary. This isn't a press, I don't have to be a press secretary. This is just common sense. And by the way, the E. Jean Carroll case is not a rape case, silly. Do better. It is not. Yeah, you don't pay somebody in a criminal case, right? So therefore it's not a criminal case. Do I really have to explain this to me? This shows exactly how unserious leftists are on this. And again, I don't have to be his press secretary. The facts are the facts. I could do this in my sleep because the only thing I have to rely on are what the facts are. Right? You're tripping over yourself to make a point that isn't there. Like you have to lie and be disingenuous the same thing, but you have to lie because there are no facts in your statement. And so why toy with it? Just be factual. Like if you've got to stretch the truth, you're not telling it. Okay? It's simple as that. Ken's in the car. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Reese. How you doing today?
I'm all right, sir.
Hey, I just want to touch on the President Trump comment about grabbing them.
In the parts.
Yeah. When that first came out, it blew up all over the place, Facebook and all that stuff. And one of my friends who is no longer a friend, I was unfriended.
Oh, wow.
She was going on and on and on about it. And I commented, I said, it was locker room talk.
Mm.
He never said that he did it.
Right.
And it was a hot mic situation. He didn't know he was being recorded, so he was just talking. It was locker room talk.
Yeah, he's talking to his buddy, Billy Bush.
And she goes, well, he said it, so he did it. I said, well, what about your husband? What about your husband when he was in high school? Did he play sports? She goes, yeah. I said, so when he was in the locker room and he was with the guys, was he talking about the cheerleaders and all the other girls? And no, he wouldn't say that.
Oh, no. No, she didn't.
Really? I said, really? Your husband never said anything like that? No, he would tell me if he did. So I was like, yeah, okay.
Cognitive dissonance, my friend. That's, I mean,
Yep.
if you could ever imagine it like being laid out in the script, there it would be.
Exactly.
It's right in the locker room with a bunch of guys, knowing there's a hot cheerleader that everybody wants to get with, that the boys were pure as the driven snow. You know, Amy looks particularly cute today. I would love to take her out for a milkshake tomorrow.
Yeah, right?
I got to get out of here. Thank you, Ken. Much obliged,
Reese,
sir.
thanks, buddy. Talk to you later.
You got it. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio.
Spider-Man. Hey, he's your friendly neighborhood Reese on the radio. Right now on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, back and live, and as promised, our good friend Mark Walsh from Mark Walsh Reports, Mark from West Hartford on X. Make sure you follow him. He is a very, I would say, dogged reporter on the streets and a part of the Reese on the Radio program. What are you doing, buddy?
Oh, man. I literally, while I was on hold, I wasn't looking at dates. I got to tell your audience, you know this. I never talked about it because for what? I sustained a really bad concussion in December.
Right.
And things that I would have normally caught, like immediately, sometimes it takes me 2-3 days, hours, months, weeks. I just found out. So here's what I did. If you could set it up. So in West Hartford, ICE came into town on June 20th, and they arrested, his name is Saeed Sisunjanina. I think I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
He owns Portobello Restaurant on Park Road, right next to Plan B. And they came in, they arrested him. Remember, we went to the press conference asking, like, what was his crime? Nobody seemed to know. So now, you know, I wanted to do a deep dive because I'm thinking, like, okay, you're here for 30 years, you weren't doing the right thing, and now you own a restaurant. You're doing the right thing there. So, you know, I'm starting out simple. Like I said, deep dive. I just thought I was putting my toe in the water. So on July 7th, I put in an FOI request from what's called, we have our own regional health district,
Okay.
the Bloomfield West Hartford Health District. And I requested all the health inspections on the restaurant. I just found out. So I want to read off some of the things they found, but more importantly, I just looked at the dates. I put the request in on July 7th.
Yeah.
The third one they did. So they did 23, 24. They didn't inspect them last year at 25. And the 2026 date that they inspected his restaurant was 2 days after I put in the FOI request.
Whoa.
So on the 9th, somehow they went in there. Now, you would think he was arrested in June of on the 20th, that at least the 26th, you would have found things like, hey, they got eyes on me, right? Wouldn't you think so?
Right.
Like, I'm going to make sure this restaurant's spick and span. Well, this is the pillar of the community.
Now, hold on. This is
ahead.
a very important part. I want to make sure that we set this up. We're talking about Sayo. Sayo is the person that made all of this news, this show, myself, Mark, what's his name? Jonathan. Gino was there, Jonathan DeBarros. Adam 12. We all showed up at this press conference to talk to Senator Richard Blumenthal and John Larson, who got in a back and forth with me about ICE and this whole bit. And what Mark decided to do was to go into, because as they were promoting this guy, Sayo, that he was a pillar of the community, someone that we could all, I guess, aspire to be as an immigrant in this country. So Mark said, I got to find out on another angle what are the conditions of of this restaurant, a pillar of the community? And what he found, go on.
So now for those of you who don't understand or ever seen compliance in the health report. So they have all the notions there. So I'm just going to give you two that you need to know. And this is, when I read them to you, they are both. So there's something called just simply out. And out means out of compliance.
Okay.
Sort of like, say, I'll be in here in America, right? He's out of compliance. So then the other one is a repeat violation.
Right.
So when I read these to you from 2023, 24 again, now I just caught it. I'm going to ask what 2025 was and why it took them 2 days after I put the question to do 26. So so I combine them because I don't want people to get lost in the weeds.
Okay.
All three of the years, 23, 24, now 26, all have these things in this little restaurant. For those of you who want to go there, support them, I get it. Oh, yeah, it's great. The food's great, everything. I went there once. I told you it's nothing personal against what they did, arresting them. The place stunk. It was awful. It was terrible food. So listen to some of the things. And I'm surprised that they weren't shut down for some of them. So, again, out of compliance. We have food separate, they're not, the food wasn't separated and protected properly.
Ooh.
Contact surfaces not cleaned and sanitized or in good condition. Food was not properly dated, which is always important, right?
Well,
you got to know what you're putting out. Utensils properly stored. Physical facilities aren't clean. Now we're going to get into the big ones. This is what will get people sick. Mussels were opening in the coolers. They were spoiled. Now, an Italian restaurant, a mussel appetizer is very popular.
Very.
So to have mussels opening, who knows? Now, we've got uncovered food in the walk-in, vegetables and fish, literally uncovered. We have presence of flies due to the kitchen door open. Ooh. We've got employees smoking cigarettes, handling food. They go out, they have a cigarette, who knows what else they're touching, they come and they start cooking again. We have, now it doesn't seem like a big deal, but I kind of know restaurants a little bit.
Yeah.
A dirty can opener is really bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
You've got to clean a can opener, along with they had residue on a slicer blade. Now, let me tell you, that residue, if you're not cleaning slicers, that's a real big one. Now here, dented cans of if you like pina coladas, Reese,
yeah,
dented cans of pineapple juice with visible rust. So you can imagine, I mean, who knows how old they are.
What?
But here's the bad ones. And I will...
wait a minute, what do you mean, here are the bad ones? These aren't the bad ones?
Well, this is my challenge to John Larson. To go in there today, although it's probably going to be one of the cleanest ice coolers they ever had. They had, and I had to look this up because I never knew there was such a thing as red mold in an ice machine.
Ooh.
The ice machine one year had regular standardized black mold, and then this year they had red mold. So I quickly looked it up, and if you don't mind, I won't read the black mold so I just simply put in, is red mold bad in a restaurant ice machine? Yes, red slime or mold in an ice machine is a major health concern and a food safety failure.
Wow.
It's really, really bad. I mean, they're telling you that you could get stomach cramps, allergic reactions. Children and the elderly should not be ingesting this. And their drinks are, what do you put in a drink? A soda, water. You put ice. And one guy, I put some of this stuff on X, and somebody in the restaurant business goes like, oh, it's a simple thing. You clean out the ice machine every night.
Right.
So this is like standardized stuff. So here we have a guy, again, I know it sounded like a joke that this guy's here out of compliance, but I kind of knew, and I had a gut feeling with my experience at 66 years old, that when you're not doing the right thing in one area of your life.
You're probably doing horrible things elsewhere.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, these people are supporting, again, I don't know, this is ground zero when it comes to socialists, liberal, communists. West Hartford, they're so out of tune, out of touch, or they really are. And I don't know, again, remember I always say, is it intentional or unintentional?
Right.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if I live among stupid people or the most smartest connivers I've ever seen.
It could be a toss-up any given day, Mark. That's the whole point of this. is again, and the worst part is that there isn't even any reasonable vetting of any of this before they sign their names on the dotted line of support of this stuff.
And again, I'm going to be asking our town manager, the mayors. They don't answer me, Reese.
I know.
This is the email I'll be sending out. I want to know why they were skipped last year, and why was it 2 days after my FOI request did they go in there and do the 2026 inspection? I have a feeling they weren't going to inspect them this year either. If they didn't do all of last year, and then they waited two days. So I got to ask that. But now,
here's what I want you to do. Listen, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get with Adam 12, and I want you to coordinate that phone call. I want you both on that phone call to get them answers. And the objective is this, right? Because this is a very important thing. This is a health issue in the community of West Hartford. Right now, again, we're not doing favors because it's West Hartford. We have to understand it. I want to make them understand. We understand how liberal West Hartford is, and it is a very popular town to go out and eat. Roseanne and I were just there on Sunday at the bistro that's right on the corner of the main road. We went to the hibachi place right on the main road. We were there. Yeah, we were just there. So this is a major concern because this is a tourist and eating thoroughfare. So if this guy's not up to code, they are putting considerable amount of people in danger.
Now, guess what? Guess what piqued my interest? Maybe we've got to now do a blanket, I'll pick a few restaurants each month, and I'll ask for health records for all of them.
I think it's...
If they're skipping over there, and we are the restaurant mecca, West Hartford Center.
It is.
So maybe I'll ask for the last 3, I'll be reasonable, last 3 years, and I'll wait. They were able to get me this pretty quick.
Yeah, why not? I don't see any reason why they would hide it.
I think they waited, though, if you think about the dates. I just got it yesterday. But, like I said, the 7th was when I put the FOI in. The 9th is when they did the 2026 inspection, and now they just got it to me. So I think they literally waited to get that inspection.
Wow.
Now, who's in charge of them? Because they're their own entity. Now, that's another thing I got to look into.
Yeah.
Who's in charge of the West Hartford Bloomfield District to make sure that they're doing their job?
Yeah, they've got, again.
Sure I'm paying for this. I'm sure we pay their salary.
Without a doubt. I got to let you go. But, folks, if you want to check out the report, please go to Mark from West Hartford on X. He has all of it posted up there and with all of the details so you can read it yourself. And we'll go further into this to find out, one, about the 2025, I guess the 2025 audit, I guess you could say it, or health audit, and see if it's out there. We'll get on that and we'll feature it.
Don't forget this one, Reese. I got FOIs with the police department, too. That's the ones I really want to get my hands on.
Absolutely.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, let me know. I promise. As soon as you know, you'll be on the air.
Thank you.
You got it, sir. Let's take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. We'll take some more of your phone calls when we return. And then Luke Bronin will join us right here on Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Call me crazy, but I actually remembered it. I actually remembered that today. Let's go to John in Wethersfield. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Reese. Great show as always.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, so I got two things about the Trump thing.
Yeah.
So anyone who doesn't think that was locker talk, they have to go to a job site, go to a job trailer on a Monday morning, because you always have that one guy who sits there and says, "I picked up this chick at the bar, and she would have let me do this to her, and I could have gotten away with it."
Yeah, I even told that story once.
Of course, we all have. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, so anyways, with that being said, the thing about the Fifth Avenue thing, you're spot on except for one thing. When he said, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure what he said was the way that the reporters talk about how loyal my followers are, however he says, you would think I can walk down Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and get it.
No. He was literally talking about his poll numbers that were skyrocketing because he was in essence throwing, and you're right about the media aspect of why he started the conversation, was that, remember, right before then, he had been pretty much raked over the coals over what he said about John McCain, which at that point he was sitting at about 2 to 3%, and his numbers just kept going up. And what he was making the comparison, and you're right, there was an media aspect that he was making the point of, was saying that no matter what they say about me, the audience or his supporters, I should say, were still supporting him in spite of what the media was trying to do to him.
Okay, I see the difference. Okay.
Yeah, because that's what, and it's a very important distinction here about all of that. And let me make this point. You might remember the Ray Rice, was that his name, the running back from the Baltimore Ravens?
Was he the one who punched his
Yes,
girl?
the one who hits, right, his fiance at the time and ends up marrying her all the time.
In the
elevator. Yes. Okay. So I will never forget it. The Washington Post was at the OTAs, right, where they were, the training camp, if you will. And he showed up, and so did the media, because it happened, off season, and it was just before the beginning of the season. And the media was there to see what the crowd's reaction was, and of course to kind of harangue him for abusing his girlfriend, as you would expect. But what the reporter talked about in his article was there were women who showed up wearing his jersey and cheering him on when he came on the field. And the media was outraged that these women would support him after that, which I always made the claim that the case was the media did, they're the ones who direct the narrative. And if you go against it, you're the reprobate.
Yeah.
So that's what Donald Trump was sort of focusing on, was that they thought that they were to be the dictates of how Trump was going to do or be successful in this primary process. Does that make sense?
All right. Yes, it does.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, boss. I appreciate it. I got to take a break, but I love you, man. Thank you. I'm sorry, Joe and Bill, I promise I will get to you. Just call up later in the show. I got filled with guests today, and I promise I will get to you. Joe and Simsbury, I got Joe's text message yesterday. I can't wait until tomorrow's speech by Donald Trump, and we'll talk about that. I got to get to Luke Bronin, who should have walked in the door a minute ago, but I'm still waiting on him, so he should be here in the next couple of minutes. We'll wait him, but when we come back on the second half of the show, Luke Bronin should be sitting across from me, and we've got plenty of questions. That looks like, nope, just right behind me, just walked in. We'll get to that, so stand by. Let's get a first check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher is out, so we've got Tom O'Hanlon filling in. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. All right, Reese on the radio, second half of the program beginning shortly. That man sitting across from me, as promised, is the candidate
I'm Tom O'Hanlon from the...
What? Sorry. Running for the 1st District in a primary against John Larson is Luke Bronin, former mayor of Hartford, is here in the studio. Unfortunately, he won't be here for an hour, so I've got to do a speed round with him for about 20 minutes, but I promise you we'll get as much stuff as we can in here. Maybe I'll influence him to stay. I don't know. Let's get another check, I should say, of weather and traffic. In for Mark Christopher is Tom O'Hanlon. He is at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, you can throw those on. I've only got a little bit of time with you, so I'm going to try to get into it, but thank you. I appreciate you. What do I call you? Did I still call you Luke? Luke is fine? Okay, let's call you mayor.
You might call me many other things.
No, I'm not going to insult you. I'm just like, I can call you a million things. But anyway, I want to get into this because I had another question for you. This was something I saw on your website. If you were listening, I brought it up. And I thought this was interesting, so it's important that I ask. It says that we need to defeat Trump and the MAGA movement. This is on your website, which of course is broninforcongress.com. It says we need to defeat Trump and the MAGA movement. Can you be a little specific about the MAGA movement? Are you meaning the rank and file everyday citizens like myself, my wife, people who listen to this show? Or are you talking about something completely different?
I'm talking about the political movement that
Okay.
has, I think become effectively a cult of personality for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see as some of the defining things of that movement are, number one, a complete breakdown in the principle that public office is supposed to serve the public good rather than private gain. What I see in the Trump administration is an administration that has been completely consumed by self-dealing and self-enrichment of Trump, of his family, of his friends, of a small group of, extremely rich Americans who are getting richer. And it is a level of, sometimes we use the word corruption. I think people get sort of almost numb to it.
Yeah, this is Connecticut.
I think what we're seeing out of the White House is something we've never seen in this country before. A scale of corruption that we have never seen in this country before.
But before you get into the weeds,
I want to be specific about the thing. I think what we're seeing right now is beyond just generic corruption. It is bribery. You have foreign governments paying into the Trump family's crypto schemes in return for access to America's most advanced computer chips. You have pardons being sold to the highest bidder. This is really dangerous stuff.
Are we really?
What I see is a movement that has allowed itself to sacrifice all of its principles to support a man who I think is screwing over Americans every day.
All right. Well, you said the public good, right? In that answer. Who determines what the public good is, you or the people?
The people determine the public good, the people who are elected to represent the people, but it is not the public good.
I don't think that's an answer to my question. Who determines what the public good is?
What I'm saying is you don't need to answer that question to know
Why
that
not?
when you use public office for private gain, you are sacrificing
No,
the public good.
You're misinterpreting my question, so let me make it more succinct. You said working for the public good. Who determines who determines what is the public good that you should work for? Is it us?
It's a democracy. At the end of the day, the American people are sovereign. They have the ability and the right to elect those leaders they choose to elect.
Yes, so you're saying us then.
And I understand that there will be times, and maybe many times in American history and in my life, when those who are elected don't agree with me on policy. I don't need them to agree with me on policy to believe that we still have a democracy, we'll still have rule of law. It's okay for me if people disagree with me. What's not okay is for people to use their positions of public power for private gain.
Luke, it's not okay for you to disagree with the people who've elected you to serve them. No, hear me out. It's no. Maybe you're not understanding the question, so I'll make it clearer. So you do the bidding of the people you represent, yes?
Oh, no, I think that people who are elected to office have a responsibility to do the right thing as they see it. They're
wait a minute.
No.
What's the word representative in front of this title for?
We don't govern by referendum. We don't put every question out for a straw poll, online and say, what does everybody want? This is not a new principle. This is
it is a new
those
principle.
Who are elected have to use their judgment, their values, their convictions about
Luke,
what the
do you
right
think
thing
that you
is to
govern?
do.
Hold on. Do you think you govern the people at your behest or theirs?
In a democracy,
it's a simple
are elected,
question,
and then
sir.
you're accountable. So we have elections. The people of this country choose their leaders. Those leaders then do what they think is right as they see it.
So they don't represent the people and their women. They don't.
Absurd conversation.
No, it isn't an absurd conversation. You do not understand the word representation. You do not believe. No, it's a simple yes or no question. Yeah. Do you believe that your role as a representative is to do the will of the people who have elected you? Yes or no?
This is actually a really old debate.
Civics 101.
Civics 101 recognizes that when someone is elected to serve, they are elected to use their best judgment about what is right.
Even if it's against the will of the people?
Let me say it this way. When I was mayor, I was elected by the people of Hartford to lead that city.
Serve them.
There is no way to determine what the people believe about every single issue that comes before you on any given day. People are elected to serve and do right as they see it.
As they see it. So in essence, so you're telling me that in elected office, if you should get this office, that you will determine what is good for the people that you represent on your own without their consent?
This has nothing to do with consent.
No, sir. It's just, you can think that, but I'm asking you a specific question because this, again, is the tenets of who we are as a political society.
I think you're misunderstanding what we are.
Tell me what it is that I'm misunderstanding.
Throughout our history, there have been many times when our elected representatives have faced challenges and had to use their judgment and maybe sometimes make unpopular decisions that prove to be the right ones in the long run. If you had asked the American people in advance of World War II, whether the United States should begin preparing to support Europe to defeat the Nazis through the Lend-Lease, and they understood the scale of our efforts to support. A lot of people would have been opposed to that. But Roosevelt had the foresight to understand the threat that was coming, and he used his judgment to prepare our country and our allies for the threat that was coming. This is a country.
Maybe you're not understanding what I'm trying to ask you.
I don't really know why we're going down this rabbit hole.
I did because again I started. Yeah, well, we are because again I'll tell you the biggest problem that a lot of people here and in many other states, and again I keep saying this all the time. I don't understand why our elected officials do not understand that they are public. Please let me finish. They are public servants. I don't want you to filibuster, but then again, I don't want to get into an argument with you. I just literally want to make my case, and then you and I can have that discussion thereafter. What I'm saying to you is that you are an elected official that is there to serve the people and their interests, and you are saying that, no, you believe that you are there to then decide for them what you think is their public good. You brought up public good, so I'm only responding to you using that term.
Right. I brought up public good to distinguish it from private gain. And what we're seeing in the Trump administration is the exploitation of public office for private gain at a scale we have never, ever, ever seen before. We have never seen a president gain $2.2 billion in wealth in the first 17 months of his presidency. We've never seen him do that by issuing a crypto meme coin that screwed a million Americans out of $3.8 billion, enriching the president to the tune of almost $700 million.
Okay.
This is a level of corruption that we've never seen. So I distinguish I think it's a pretty simple and very clear distinction between office that is used to serve the public and office that is used to enrich oneself and one's friends.
Okay.
What we're seeing in the Trump administration and what we're seeing from a MAGA movement that has empowered the Trump administration is a level of self-dealing and self-enrichment that is unique in American history.
Okay.
And to me, that represents a unique threat to our country because I think it is so deeply corrosive of people's trust in their elected officials, in leadership. And that represents a serious threat.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to let you give the long answer, but at some point I got to cut you off. We only have a little bit of time. Okay, so let's get to the most important part of this conversation because it is very much involved in your public policy as it relates to ICE. You believe that we should abolish them. So let me ask you a couple of layup questions, okay? First question. If a black person robs me, I should not deem that all black people are criminals, right?
Of course.
Thank you. If a Hispanic person robs me, I should not deem then all Hispanics are thieves, right?
Of course.
All right. Layup questions, right? Absolutely. Sir, 45%, that's almost half of the individuals who work in ICE are Latino and African American. But you said this.
ICE has become a lawless agency. It is, at this point, full of people who are recruited by ads that look like they come out of Call of Duty, that are glorifying violence.
You are suggesting that 45% of minority workers in ICE are lawless?
That is one of the more bizarre non sequiturs I've ever heard in my life.
Sure.
I stand
How are they lawless?
I stand by everything I just said.
How are they lawless?
What I said is that ICE has become a lawless agency.
Okay, so the
ICE
agency
is operating with a culture that does not respect our Constitution,
and therefore the agents
does not respect the rule of law.
Therefore, the agents are engaging in lawlessness.
Many agents are routinely engaging in
lawlessness. Are they just the white ones, Luke Bronin?
I have never said a word about race in ICE. I don't know why.
Well, I am because I'm trying to understand why you would say something that was, I'll put it to you this way. Let's go with my point here. And again, you call it a non sequitur. There's an important question in all of this, and that's the point I'm trying to say.
I look forward to hearing
is that ICE operates as a law enforcement agency, right?
I don't think they operate like any other law enforcement agency.
What you think is neither here nor there.
Well, I've been the mayor of a city which has a law enforcement agency.
Oh, I'm well aware of that.
And law enforcement agencies, even the smallest police departments in the country at this point, have body cameras.
Mm-hmm.
ICE still does not. Mm-hmm. And that's why in the last week alone, we've seen two
body
people
cameras is
killed.
A ridiculous comment.
We've seen two people killed with no ability to see what actually happened.
Body cameras are ridiculous.
You have an agency that has now routinely lied about the circumstances when people have died.
Body cameras are a ridiculous statement in all of this because I'm going to break this down real simple. Everything that ICE agents have done to pull over or apprehend individuals has been done by police departments across the country for generations, right? And when there is an argument that there is no due process is when you may I finish? Apprehend an individual, put them in a detainment center, and then they see a judge and their case is adjudicated. Those things are due process. You guys are making the determination that an ICE agent simply grabbing an illegal off the road is someone who is not getting due process. Yes?
You're actually mistaken about the fact that everything that ICE is doing is what police departments are doing. How am I mistaken? ICE is now making decisions about whom to arrest based on their accent, based on how they look.
There's no evidence of that.
There is a Supreme Court decision that was decided as part of the shadow docket that allowed ICE to do that. It was a terrible decision, but there is not just evidence. There is
give me the evidence that every individual that has been picked up by ICE is picked. Okay, but you just brought it up.
Reese, you are remarkable at inventing things that somebody said.
Why would you bring it up?
I never said that every individual that ICE has picked up was picked up for that reason.
Why are you making the case
what
then?
I have said and what I maintain is that ICE is routinely targeting people for no reason other than how they look or how they sound.
And where is your evidence of this? Give me a name.
All over the
Okay, you have no evidence. Thank you. Okay, thank you. You have no evidence. You're just saying that you have no evidence.
The Supreme Court decision.
No. You said that that's what the ICE is doing now, not the Supreme Court decision, that the ICE officers are doing it now.
That's
so
correct.
You're suggesting that you have evidence that today ICE agents are picking people up based upon their accent.
There are countless accounts of this, and I'm happy to provide them for you.
You're saying that that's happening today, but yet you can't cite one.
This is, again, if you want to have a fact-based discussion,
I didn't bring this up, Luke. You did. So you should when you make a claim like that, back it up with evidence. You're being very general for the sake of talking about you're slamming ICE agents. Yeah. I get it, you don't like them. I get you don't like what they do. I get that you don't think that these people are committing crimes at all.
No. Let me say.
Okay.
I have no problem with wise immigration enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
In the Obama administration, for example, as well as in the Biden
You brought the Trust Act because of it.
In the Obama administration, there was the targeting of individuals based on whether they actually presented a threat to a community. There was a prioritization. Then
why did you wait? During the Biden administration, hold on. During the Obama administration, Connecticut wrote the Trust Act.
Okay.
As a result, because they didn't like that the Obama administration was asking courts and prisons to hold on to people.
The reason for the Trust Act and the reason for decisions like communities, including Hartford, not to have local law enforcement operate as arms of federal immigration is that it doesn't actually make communities safer to have local law enforcement doing immigration enforcement. You need a relationship of trust between all the residents of a community.
They didn't ask the police to do that.
Law enforcement.
They never asked the police. They asked the prisons to contact the federal government if they were holding someone or detained someone who was an illegal inside their custody.
And all the Trust Act said is we just want a warrant.
Okay. The bottom line is that, again, the Obama administration is not one to cite because, again, you guys wrote legislation against his administration when, again, he was the deporter in chief. So, it just doesn't line up with the facts. But by the way, in the future,
what I'm saying is there's a vast difference between what the Obama administration is doing, which is, by the way, what Trump pretends to be doing. He says we're going after the worst of the worst. Mm-hmm. They're not going after the worst of the worst.
You don't know who they're picking up. Luke, you have no idea who they're picking up.
You and I were both at a press conference a couple of weeks ago for someone whom they picked up, who has been in this country for decades, who has created jobs and created businesses. Here? That has nothing to do with whether he's
stealing someone's identity. How do you know? How do you know? Again, wait. How do you know he wasn't the worst of the worst? And by the way, who determines the worst of the worst?
He has no criminal record.
Wait, he has a DUI. He also came into the country under false pretenses.
All your listeners out there.
No. Let's go one step further.
Anybody who has a DUI is the worst of the worst.
I didn't say the worst of the worst. He came into the country. He came into the country under false pretenses. No, you said he doesn't commit any crimes. You said he committed no crimes. Did he commit a crime or not? Yes. Do you not think that's important? Mothers Against Drunk Drivers would have an issue with him.
Not every entry into this country of a non-citizen is illegal. I don't know how he came in. He might have come in on a visa and overstayed.
So why would you sit up here and tell me that he was not the worst of the worst when you don't know how he got here?
What I'm saying is that if you think that, I listened to a piece of your segment before. So if he has a DUI and in his restaurant they didn't clean a meat slicer, You saying that makes him the worst of the worst
No,
in the country?
First of all, it calls him a health risk.
Okay, fine. You can say that.
I don't know. Endangering the public.
I have no judgment about that. But what I'm saying is it's pretty darn clear that the Trump administration is not actually targeting people who represent a threat to other people.
Luke, it sounds awfully like you wish to determine what is and what isn't dangerous. And if you think it isn't dangerous, they should stay.
No, I wish to have law enforcement that's prioritizing their enforcement efforts in a way that's actually about public safety instead of politics. And what we're seeing is a Trump administration that's put out quotas for how many people they have to detain and deport, that is arresting nuns in Texas and restaurant owners in Connecticut. And we can see countless examples.
I know you want it to be a perfect agency. It isn't, so let's abolish it.
No need for it to be a perfect agency. But what I want to see is when I say
look, they're going to make me go to a hard break, but you won't stay. Are you going to stay? Can you stay?
We told you in advance how much time I have.
Well, then I can't talk to you anymore because I got so much stuff that I can get into. But come on, you should stick around.
I got places to go.
Come on, man. Let's take a break. Tom O'Hanlon is in for Mark Christopher in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. We'll try to talk the former mayor into staying. We'll be back.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, Reese on the radio. We're going to get into weather and traffic in a minute, but we have breaking news. Luke Bronin is back. No. Hey, people were automatically going, I got to fix your camera here. People were already saying, it's like, oh, he left, he ran, that's going to look horrible. I'm like, yeah, whatever. He's going to be.
I mean, just for the record, we told you in advance how long I could stay.
No, first of all of my interviews, let me tell you something. This is important that you know, Luke. Okay. If you were coming to this program, you were reaching a hell of a lot of people, whether or not they're for you or against you, they're listening. But you're never ever going to get anything out in just 30 minutes, okay? We do have traffic coming up a minute and a half. But no, I'm glad that you came back. I know it's contentious. I don't mind that. I don't want to scream. Exactly. I don't want to scream and holler. I really, really like talking to people, especially those ideologically who disagree with me. And it's not so much of like, I'm right and you're wrong. No, it's not about that. I need to get where you are. And this conversation is something that needs to be had because, and this is important, and I'll let you respond. One of the biggest problems we have as a society is that the two of us on either side do not get this opportunity. And most people won't take it. So that's why I'm grateful that you came back, because I want to get into a little bit more about, one, it's important to talk about what your plans are for the state of Connecticut as their representative, and I think that needs to be expressed here as well. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to do that. Because, there's a comparison between you and your opponent, at least in the primary, and, of course, in the general. So I want to kind of get to the fill of that. But what do you want to say in 40 seconds? What can you say? What brought you back?
I think the one thing I will say I think we agree on is I think it's really important for us to have conversations with people that we disagree with. I actually seek that out all the time.
Good.
I go on Newsmax on a regular basis.
Right, you mentioned that when you were walking.
I don't agree with almost anything that's on that show, and I think almost anybody watching that show probably doesn't agree with me. But I think it's important to have conversations, and I think if you give up on the idea that you can persuade people who don't already agree with you, then you're giving up on something pretty fundamental to a democracy.
Fair.
Right? And so, that matters to me.
You mean constitutional republic, right? Democracies are Venezuela. Just so you know, in case you didn't, it's a civics
we can have another 10 minutes winding civics discourse.
Just people are screaming at me, just going, it's a constitutional republic, Bronin.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we are back. Good to go. Luke Bronin still in the house. And I appreciate you coming back. It's important. It's important to me to have this conversation. We were talking behind the scenes. And again, this is the reason why I like people to stay in for the hour, because behind the scenes we could talk and just, jibber jabber and all that good stuff. So you're running against John Larson. And this was, I believe, that the convention was a referendum on where the Democrat Party, or in some cases even the Republican Party, is going. They want a younger message and all of that. But I said this about you a couple of weeks ago, and I got to be honest, it was kind of brutal. I technically think you're just New Coke. And you got to hear me out, because I actually looked this up. It's very true. I did. I really did look this up. So I took all of your policy positions against John Larson.
Yeah.
And 10 being the highest, meaning most aligned.
Yeah.
1 being the least aligned. Do you know where you scored?
You tell me.
8.5.
Okay.
Technically 9, but I'll give it an 8.5 just for a learning curve.
Look, I don't know what your scoring system is here, but look, I've never said I'm running against John Larson because I profoundly disagree with his views on things. I think there's an awful lot that we agree on. We probably agree on most things.
There's a lot.
Right? I also, though, think there's a lot of stuff that I haven't heard John Larson talking about for a long time. Mm-hmm. I've heard for a decade or more, the only real thing I've heard him talking about is his particular bill on Social Security.
Right.
And I want to be clear, I'll be proud to fight to protect Social Security, but he's been introducing the same bill every year for 12 years. It's never gone anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I haven't heard him talking about much else. And so to me, the job of a member of Congress is not just how do you vote on the stuff that comes in front of you. It's what are you doing out there to create the conditions to make different change possible? What are you doing out there to build a movement? On the Social Security stuff, I bet that most people listening here couldn't tell you what's in John's bill. Mm-hmm. He's been introducing it every year for 12 years.
That's an interesting point.
But I bet most people don't know what's in it. And that means to me that he hasn't done the work of building a movement to support it.
Right.
And that's actually how you make the change. So I'm not running this because I profoundly disagree with John Larson. I'm running this race because I think I have a very different sense of what the role demands right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm obviously a Democrat, and I feel very strongly about the threat that the Trump administration poses. And so I want to see a Democratic Party that's out there with a whole different kind of energy and clarity and courage about how we're communicating and where we're messaging. And it includes, by the way, not just preaching to the choir, going to places where people might not agree with us and making that case. And maybe you only convince, 1 out of 200 people, but constantly doing that work relentlessly every day. That's the kind of energy I want to see in my party. And I don't see that, respectfully, from a lot of folks in my party. But there's other stuff too. But I just, because you do these issues, there's a whole bunch of issues where I just haven't heard John be a voice. Right?
No, I get it. What my point of that is like, when I say the term new Coke, because your campaign is being described as a generational difference between the two. I understand words. I love language. And that to me, that's the reason why I said, you said there aren't many differences. Technically, you're just saying to everybody else, you're just the younger generation of the older John Larson.
But it's not just that. So I'll give you an example.
Okay. What's generational about your campaign is my question.
What I would say is it's not just about age. It's also about the fact that the world is changing faster than ever.
Okay.
And the people representing us are changing slower than ever. So here's one example of many we could talk about. Artificial intelligence. Right? Mm-hmm. Artificial intelligence is about to turn our world upside down. It's about to turn the economy upside down. It's going to have huge impacts in so many different ways. And I don't see most members of Congress who've been sitting in there for decade after decade even asking the questions. So there's an issue where I think we actually would be better off as a country to have some more folks who are coming in recognizing that we've got a whole new set of challenges. It's not the same thing that it was in the 90s. It's not the same thing that it was in the early 2000s, and are ready to tackle that stuff and are serious about it. And I think that's why there's a need all the time. I don't just mean in this moment, but all the time. You need more renewal. These jobs are not meant to be lifetime appointments.
Yeah, but
you got to get that new perspective, that new energy, not just energy out there communicating, but energy saying, like, we can't get stuck in routines. I think you probably both know a lot of people who do the same thing, not just members of Congress, but in almost anywhere. It's rare to find somebody who can do the same thing for 30 years and not get stuck in some routines.
No, I know that. Trust me. In this business, it's the same thing. It's why I do things differently. And people hate me for it because I refuse to stick with the status quo. But that being said, look, the one thing that I know about progressives, you consider yourself a progressive, yes or no? Okay, so progressives. The thing that I've noticed about progressives is that you guys will talk about AI and how the working place is going to change. But the one thing that Democrats and progressives never talk about is job creation. And
I do.
Well, you do, but in what way? Because let me tell you why I know that you don't, and you really have no interest in it. No, because you are in essence opposed to big business or business growth in the sense of in the sense of people who get billions, if not millions of dollars in profit. You have an issue with those folks, don't you?
I have an issue with people making billions and not paying their fair share.
What is your fair share?
Not your fair share is if you're Jeff Bezos and your effective tax rate is 0.7%.
Okay,
right? That's not your fair share.
Let's start at the bottom.
Right?
What do you consider the lowest scale of what you would consider a wealthy business owner that has to pay their fair share? How much money do they have to make a year?
I want to take this a different direction.
No, I'm not.
I want to go to job creation because you're taking it away from
I'll
job
get into job creation, but there's an importance to all of that because it all leads somewhere. So when you say paying their fair share, what is the threshold? What's the lowest threshold that you consider a person who isn't paying their fair share or should pay their fair share?
That's not the right way to ask the question. We have a progressive tax code in this country. We are supposed to have a progressive tax code in this country.
Okay.
Where the more that you earn, the higher a percentage you pay.
Okay, how much?
Income, right?
You have to have a threshold in order to answer that question, and you won't.
What are you asking?
You don't want to play.
Asking
okay,
what's the
I make $1
rate?
million a year. Okay,
the highest rate?
Let's say I make $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay, would you consider that rich? Would you consider that wealthy?
I mean, it's a lot wealthier than most
Of
Americans.
course. Okay.
I'd roll back the Trump tax cuts. I'd bump that up at least to 37 plus.
Okay.
I'd probably go up to the low 40s for that.
Okay.
But
whoa. You would go to the low 40s? More than a third of my wages should go to the federal government?
Yes. I mean, look, when Richard Nixon was president,
the
top marginal tax
rate. Are you
going
going to be that
70%.
politician?
I
know what they used to be.
Facts.
No. I know that, but I'm talking about you. Please don't do the whole when they were this and Frederick Douglass and
to say Richard Nixon's not that far back. It's important to say that nobody was calling Dwight D. Eisenhower a communist.
Okay.
Nobody was calling Richard Nixon a communist. Mm-hmm. The top marginal income tax rate was more than double what it is right now.
No, I'm well aware of that.
Here's my bigger issue. My bigger issue, even if you didn't change the current rates, my bigger issue is that our tax code is so riddled with loopholes that most people who are making the most aren't paying anywhere
Okay,
near
loopholes
what
are cool.
Actual
I
code.
totally get that.
Well, you say that, but not a lot of people are working to change it.
No, I get that.
And there's very strong.
No disagreement here. Even Donald Trump made that case to Hillary Clinton in the first debate back in 2016. You know he did. He said that she'll never change the code because it helps her friends.
I don't remember.
That was during the Anderson Cooper debate on CNN. You know he said it.
Of his presidency, all he's done is create
but you know he said it. He said that they'll never.
Know.
Well, you should go back.
You have a better memory for that debate
well, of course
I
do. It's my job. But the bottom line is again, you're making this clear that if a person makes $1 million a year, you believe in taxing them at 40%. So you would take 40 cents of every dollar.
I want.
Why can't it be yes or no?
Let me just step. I am less concerned about picking that specific rate right now.
Why not?
Than I am about the principle that as you make more, you should pay more. But not just that. You should also actually have to pay what your rate is.
How about $250,000 a year? How much should you pay?
I mean, that's certainly not rich these days.
Okay, so $250,000 a year, what should the tax rate be?
I don't know.
Why not?
I think about a third.
Okay, third. So you're talking about 33% of what they earn.
But again, what's more important to me is that when somebody is making $50 million a year, they're not paying zero.
We don't have many people in the world who make that kind of money. You know that.
We actually have a lot of people in this country who are making tens of millions of dollars who are paying a fraction of what you or I are paying in our taxes.
I understand it. What should we be doing with those tax dollars should you get them?
Invest them wisely, and in many cases that means
please don't use the word. There's no such
use.
Thing as an investment
when
you
disagree.
put. No. Let me explain something to you. See, when I invest money into a stock, that money works for me, so I can make more money. Yeah. You're talking about giving to people who are eventually going to need more of that money. It's not an investment. It's just spending. Just call it that, please. With all due respect, don't insult my intelligence by calling it something it isn't. Just call it spending.
I don't think that's always true.
You invest.
For example, when we build infrastructure in this country, that's an investment. When we build rail lines or roads or airports or electric infrastructure, and by the way, I think we should be doing a lot more on our electric infrastructure because we actually have the ability to bring costs down and modernizing our electric grid. I absolutely think that's an investment.
Okay, what are the other things?
We're not doing very well.
What are the other things that you call an investment?
When under the last administration they created the CHIPS Act to make sure that the United States could begin catching up to the chips industry, so that we weren't wholly reliant on Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing.
What about people?
That helped to invest. That created jobs which support people in this country.
Yeah.
Right?
People.
I support that.
Okay.
I want to make sure that we're actually able to pay the benefits that people have earned, for example, Social Security, right? Which, by the way, is already drawing on more than the trust fund, is drawing from the general fund. So there's lots of important expenditures, some of which are spending, some of which are true investment. And in any of those areas, I want to make sure that we're using our dollars wisely and carefully.
Why are we using our dollars to create jobs?
I just talked about the CHIPS Act, which created jobs.
It's one.
No, it's actually really critical.
No, just one aspect. I mean, what other jobs is government creating other than the CHIPS Act?
well, first of all, you have a lot of really important public sector jobs, right? You have teachers, you have firefighters, you have nurses, in hospitals where a lot of the compensation is coming
public
from the
sector
federal government.
jobs. What about private sector?
I just said also hospitals where you have a lot of the, healthcare, which is essentially a public-private at this point.
Yeah.
Although I think we need to completely overhaul our healthcare system in this country. But there's a lot of investment in things that help create jobs.
What are those things?
Research and development. We've historically made massive investment in things like R&D for drug discovery and medication. We've made lots of investment as a country.
So you want an expansion of government with those tax dollars? I want
an expansion of investment in things like research and development that has historically created jobs.
Why do you have to call it things that it's not? An expansion of government, Luke. Just say that, because that's what it is. It's an expansion of government.
Because I think you use that word to then make your audience think that it's something that isn't important. And I want to say
why can't the thing just be the thing? It is an expansion of government, yes or no?
I am for expansion of government in certain areas.
Thank you.
But also, when I'm talking about R&D, I don't consider that an expansion of government.
But it is. I don't care what you consider it as. I mean, we all have opinions. Yeah. But that's what it is. I mean, I just want you to listen. With all due respect, as a politician, the one thing that people want from politicians, I'm saying that as a person on either side, what they want is their politicians to be honest and open about what things are. But when we sort of finagle around the meaning of things, people think that you're a BSer.
Right.
Just say that it is. It's an expansion of government, and you wish to do that with tax dollars. Yes?
In some areas, I do think we should expand with
Thank you.
So, for example, I think we need more teachers in this country. I want smaller class sizes in this country. If you want to call that expansion of government, I 100% agree.
Should the investment in teachers get better results?
Of course.
Are we doing that while we're investing in them?
One of the best things you could do to get better results is to lower class sizes, and to do that you need to recruit more teachers, and to do that you need to pay teachers better. And I absolutely think that that's a wise investment of tax dollars. Similarly, by the way, if you talk to almost any business, can we get to job creation for 1 second?
Yeah, go for it.
If you talk to almost any business, small businesses, mid-sized businesses, I talk to business owners all the time. One of the biggest reasons that they're not growing and creating jobs that they want to create is because their healthcare premiums keep going up year after year after year.
Who should pay for those?
I want to see us redesign our healthcare system. I want to push to a universal healthcare system.
Okay, who pays for that?
The same people who are currently paying for the single most expensive healthcare system in the world with less good results than many peer countries.
Who are they?
The American people. We're already paying for it, is my point. We're paying for it.
Do we put a cap on doctors and what they get paid and the equipment that they use? How do we reduce those costs?
I'd love for us to be able to take one line of discussion and go more than 10
seconds. No,
because
unfortunately, as politicians do, they speak in generalities,
I'm not
and then you say
generalities all.
Yes, you did. You say
very specifically, and every time I make a point, you bat me in a different direction because I'm trying to.
Because you said when I only follow what you say. So when you said that we need to have universal health care, someone has to pay for that, Luke. Right? So again, how we have to make it affordable in order for it to be paid for. Yes. That means we have to lower the cost of which doctors get paid. We have to lower the cost of which practitioners get paid. We have to lower the cost of equipment surgeries.
You could also lower the amounts that are going to profit at every stage of the process, from the insurance company to the pharma company. And part of that is breaking up the massive consolidation we've seen in the healthcare industry.
Government intervention?
Insurance companies also owning pharmacy benefit managers and medical practices. That is, by the way, consistent with all of the American traditions of making sure we have a competitive market economy.
A government intervention of private industry.
Antitrust that ensures competition in our economy.
It's a quick yes or no, and you can still make your point. A government intervention in private industry.
You can use your words, and I'm using better words because my words are more accurate.
You mean, look, I know what you mean. I get that you won't answer it, but it is what it is.
I'm answering it. Right? If you want to go on all of your little detours here, we can take the one and say the Trump administration is engaged in one of the biggest interventions in private industry that we've ever seen.
But you're not running against Trump,
government stake. I am very much running against Trump.
Really? I thought you were running against Larson.
I am running for a Democratic Party that is strong enough to stand up to Trump and stop the damage and defeat the movement that I think is taking us in a really dangerous direction.
Okay.
So in that sense, yes, I'm absolutely running this because I want a Democratic Party that's strong enough.
I know that. I know that you guys believe that your campaigns, all of your campaigns are in essence a referendum on running against Trump. You're not. But I think it's a silly notion that people are running around talking about, I'm running against Trump. No, you're not. Nobody thinks you are because, again, at the end of the day, everything it is that you folks are doing, in essence, is performative. And I say that respectfully.
I don't think you're right about that.
Well, tell me how exactly you're stopping him now.
When we take the majority in the fall, I think when we take the majority, I mean, look, you want to go back to where we started and like popular will. I mean, Trump is polling at like the low 30s right
Doesn't
now.
matter. He's not running in the election.
Correct, and that probably means he's going to have an even harder time getting the turnout that he needs. But let's leave the politics and the horse race stuff aside.
We got 1 minute, but go ahead.
Okay. Look, I want to see a Democratic Party that is strong enough not just to take the House this time. And I think the Democrats are going to take it in part because I think there's going to be such a backlash to Trump because people see all of the ways that his life is his work is making people's lives harder, right? Gas prices through the roof, grocery through the roof, cost of everything through the roof from the president who said that he was going to bring costs down on day one. But it's not just about this fall to me. It's about building a Democratic Party that is strong enough to also win in 2028 with the House, the Senate, and the White House and begin pushing an agenda that's focused on things like health care and housing and electric rates and actually start moving stuff forward. And if you want to say the Democratic Party hasn't been strong enough to do that, 100% agree, and that's one of the reasons I'm running.
Luke Bronin, we appreciate you coming back, and we thank you for staying for the hour. Go to his website, BroninForCongress.com, if you wish to help him out. I really do appreciate you coming back. And you know what? Let's make it a gentleman's bet. Dinner on if you take the House or not. Dinner. Come on.
Okay.
All right? If you win, you owe me. I mean, if you win, I owe you dinner.
I don't know. I hope to be a congressman. You might not be allowed to pay for it.
That might be true. All right. Let's get to a check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's out, so we've got Tom O'Hanlon filling in. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Oh, man, we're back. Reese on the radio live on News Talk 1080 WTIC. Let me do this thing. When I come back, I'll get to the phone. Stan McCauley is on the line, but I want to get to Craig in the car first because he is dying, chomping at the bit to get on the air. Stand by for me in a second. News. That one goes out to Jared and his son. They love this segment of the show. Happy birthday goes to Dan Reynolds of Imagine Dragons. He turns 39 today. Jamie Johnson, the country singer and songwriter, turns 51. Tamika Tiny Harris of Escape, also rapper T.I.'s wife, turns 51. Taboo of the Black Eyed Peas, he is the Native American in Black Eyed Peas. He also turns 51. And Woody Guthrie, the legendary folk singer and songwriter, would have turned 114, so he is no longer with us. Anyway, on this day in music in 1964, the Rolling Stones scored their first UK number one with the single It's All Over Now, the cover of the Bobby Womack song of the same name. In 1967, The Who launched their first major North American tour. They performed in, of all places, Portland, Oregon, with support of Herman's Hermits. In 1979, Donna Summer's Bad Girls hit number one on the Billboard Hot 100, holding the top spot for 5 weeks, becoming one of her signature disco anthems. In 1982, and I remember this vividly, Pink Floyd's film adaptation of The Wall premiered in London, featuring Bob Geldof, and he blended the live action with the animation. You all remember it from the 1979 album, and I remember that's all anyone could talk about in the 80s. And last but not least, my boys, the Beastie Boys, released their 5th solo album, Hello Nasty, in the U.S., which went to number one. It debuted at number one and won a Grammy for Best Alternative Music Performance. It, of course, had the feature called Intergalactic, one of my favorite songs by them. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's out, so we've got Tom O'Hanlon filling in.
From politics to news to music to movies and anything above the sun
and outer space and beyond, it's Reese on the radio. Damn, he's good. Only on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Okay, you guys are going to hate on me on the phones, but you got to stand by. I'm sorry, but as I told you guys before that I was going to have a guest on the air right after Luke Bronin, and that is Barbara Fair. She is here now, and I want to thank you, ma'am, for showing up on the program today, of course, on short notice. I think I just called you, a couple of days ago? Right. So Barbara Fair has been incredibly instrumental in getting the release of the J. Allen Jones tape of his homicide, and that's what what the coroner called it. Mm-hmm. And he was subdued by more than a half a dozen police officers while being shackled on his feet, handcuffed, a pepper sprayed with a bag over his face.
Yes.
For those of you who have not seen the video, I understand because it is horrific. You have seen the video, Barbara.
No, I
can't watch it.
I can't.
Really?
I just seen a still frame in the article, and that disturbed me, and that's what made me go after this. It was so disturbing seeing that still frame. So I said, there's no way I can watch that.
So, and again, it took place in 2018.
Yes.
You were not instrumental in any of this until years later when it pretty much came across your desk like anybody else.
Yes.
That his mother and family members were trying to get this video released to find out, one, what exactly happened and how something horrific like this could happen with somebody who was having a mental health episode, shackled and handcuffed with a bag on his back. Now, the details were not out officially years ago. In essence, there were people who were describing it in very general ways, saying that, I guess one of the claims that was made was it was equivalent to the George Floyd death.
Yes.
But
people who've seen it.
Yeah,
yes.
people who had seen it were describing it as such. And then having seen it, I did, and I finally watched it. This pales in comparison, with all due respect. What happened here, George Floyd did not have a mask put on his face and pepper sprayed. This was shackled,
chained
up. And then pretty much, I would say, squashed to death.
Yeah.
And then his lifeless body put on a wheelchair, watching his limp body slide because he can't hold himself up.
Right.
He's dead.
Right.
People had said, which was also very interesting, that it was somewhere in between 7 to 9 minutes, very equivalent to George Floyd, before medical attention was even called for J. Allen Jones.
Yes.
So you got involved with this, and you started an organization which is called Stop Solitary CT. And your mission in this case was, one, to get the video out, and two, to get justice for his mother, Jessica.
Yes.
Who you've become very fast friends with.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about that relationship with her and why this is so important to you.
Well, like I said, when I seen that still frame, and it was a still frame of him laying on the bed, completely nude on his stomach, and you can see he was shackled, and there were several correctional officers, standing around him. I don't know what they were doing.
Right.
They called it some kind of a controlled strip search. And so that was just like so disturbing to me that I tried to find out where's his mom lived at, anything.
Right.
And what happened, I went on this radio show, and on that radio show, I reached out. I said, does anybody know J. Allen Jones' mom, where she lives at? Because I'd like for her to get in touch with me. And I left my email address. The very next morning, I had an email from her. And she lives in Georgia.
Yeah, which is, again, miraculous. Yeah.
Somebody heard me and reached out to her, and she emailed me.
Powerful medium we have here, right?
And we've been friends ever since. I was just talking to her just this morning because she's planning on being here on the 24th in Hampton. We have a community meeting every month. And so this month, because that video just got out, I wanted to make sure it wasn't a video that just got out.
Yeah.
Everybody looked at it, horrified, and that's it.
Moved on.
Yes. No. And I just don't want to see that happen. And so I was talking to Jessica, like I said this morning, so she can be here on the 24th.
Now, I did ask you to reach out to her because, and I've completely been respectful of her, because I will give her this, Barbara, and you know this because you're friends with her. The thing that I have absolutely have been astounded by is her poise.
Yeah.
She is not asking for the cameras to be on her. She is not, in essence, she's not rabble-rousing. This is this, this is that. She has been very reserved about this. She only wants justice for her child.
That's it.
And she wants justice for her grandchild. And she is, again, she's been so, I would say, reserved and quiet about this. So I did reach out to her once and say, look, we'd love to have you on the show, but I totally get that she wouldn't want to because she's not really trying to bring attention to herself.
Right.
But please let her know the invitation is always open, and we could do it any way she wants to. I just want people to hear her voice.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's and I think it's important
to me.
Yeah.
When I found out the judge was going to rule on the video where they're going to seal it, and I reached out to her. I said, you know what? There's people like us in the courthouse, trying to get this video. But I said nobody's voice is more important than yours.
Right.
So please come up here and let the judge see you and hear your voice.
Yeah.
And that's when she came up.
I think that she was very instrumental in that judge's decision.
Definitely.
To finally. The part that blew my mind, by the way, but if you're just joining us, Barbara Fair of Stop Solitary CT is here, and you can check out our website, stopsolitaryct.org. The reason why I brought you in here was the thing that outraged me the most was that we were all at that hearing that day. Myself, my wife, Mark from West Hartford, listeners of this show went down there to cover this. Mark from West Hartford brought it to my attention. And I thought when I saw it, when I heard everything, I was outraged by this. Yeah. More so that the usual rabble-rousers that we would expect in a story like this did not come forward. And we had to come forward for these people. But when we got there, that was in October.
Yes.
And we were told the decision would come in 2 weeks, and it came in 2 weeks.
Right.
And we were told the video was to be released after Thanksgiving. We were told so much by William Tong's office that the video would be released after Thanksgiving. Well, we didn't get anything for over 6 months. I approached William Tong about it. Instead of addressing it as to why it wasn't released, he made it about me because he didn't like what I said about him as it pertains to African Americans. What did I say about him as it pertains to African Americans? I said, I think that you are indifferent to the African American community. One being this case with J. Allen Jones, and another case in a prison where a woman was raped, where you decided instead of protecting her, your office said that she was culpable in said sexual attack, and then had the audacity to move her all the way to Delaware on Mother's Day away from her own grandmother. Yes. To me, Black Lives Matter and any other group that I know, any civil rights group would have said that would make you far more than just indifferent to the African American community. They would pretty much call you a Klansman under normal circumstances.
Right.
Okay? So I was being very lenient in my assessment of him. What did you make of the holdout after we didn't get the video on Thanksgiving or after?
I was discouraged because I felt like, okay, we've gone to court. The judge has given an order. We're waiting for things to happen. And they just kept fighting harder and harder and harder to seal this video. And so it just left me thinking like, are we supposed to just know that someone got beat to death inside and just let it go? And is the Attorney General, is that his job? He's supposed to support whether someone was wrong or not, the state is wrong or not. He's supposed to support them in any kind of way.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know. It's still very disturbing to me because even to this day, I have not heard any response to any of them. The Attorney General, the governor.
Their comments have been, I would say,
politically correct thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's a disturbing video. No crap.
Yeah,
it's like, of course it's a disturbing video. We also understand that because it's a disturbing video was part of the reason why you failed to release it.
Right.
It's why you kept it out of everyone's, eyesight or line of sight. You fought tooth and nail for years. For years for it to be released. Of course it was a difficult video to watch.
And I'm sure they must have seen it.
Of course they did.
Yeah. And so that was another part that disturbed me, that so many people had seen it and his own mother hadn't seen it.
Wow.
And that was her fight. She said, I want to see. I don't want to hear what they said happened to my son.
Yeah.
I want to see what they did to my son.
Right.
And that was my fight with alongside her, is to let her see what happened to her son. Because I told her from the start, I said, Miss Jones, I can't watch it. I said, I seen one still frame, and that messed my head up.
Yeah.
So I can't watch it, but I will fight as long as you want me to stand with you. I will fight until you at least get to see it. Because it was, to me, it was disrespectful anyway that other people seen it, and you didn't even think to show her what you did because you know what you did was wrong.
Yeah. Barbara Fair is here. And I got to tell you, this is the part that, again, why I wanted to showcase you here on this show. And this is a very important part of all of this. As you described in the beginning on how you got in touch with Jessica Jones in the first place.
Yes.
You were just a mom who heard a story, went on the radio, and made a plea to find this woman, and you injected yourself in this and said, I need to help this woman get justice for her baby.
Yes.
as a mom, and you stepped up. The part that floors many of us, especially my audience, was the fact that you got barely, if any, support from the people we would expect. And that disappointed you, too.
It was more than disappointing because when I first found out what happened, I had the whole investigation, the whole folder. Mm-hmm. So what I did, I took some pages out of it, like the medical examiner, what the hospital said, the condition he came in. They said they had to take the shackles and chains and stuff off him, even though you brought him there dead.
Yeah.
You didn't even have the decency to take the chains.
Wow, like he was still a threat.
Right. So,
wow.
So in that hospital report, you've seen where they said they had to take those things off him. It's just so disturbing. And so I made a little packet together with some information. I gave it to as many legislators as I could. I personally met with the Black and Hispanic Caucus. Just because I just needed somebody to stand with me, because I know me and a couple little people and fighting against the state.
Yeah,
it wasn't going to work. I went to legislators. I even went to the our Buds person. I copied the whole file for him.
Right.
Gave that to him. It's like
nothing.
The only legislator that I can remember that stood with me was Representative Ann Hughes.
Wow,
she is a remarkable human being.
So even with this,
even with all of that, NAACP, all of them, I figured some of them this is a black man. You're supposed to be about black people. Why aren't you there? I mean, why am I taking this on? I should be supporting you. You guys are supposed to be out in the forefront.
And I think, and let me ask you about this, and I don't want to make it about this Stevie Jones thing or doing the well, I have to do the comparison, but I don't want you to have to co-sign that, but it had to at least be something that you thought about, because it was the first thing that came to my mind. When we saw everybody from Benjamin Crump to Al Sharpton coming here for Stevie Jones, who did have a knife in his hand, which is questionable on the tactics by the police officer, which are warranted. If you want to have that debate, of course you should. But we're talking about a young man who was shackled, had a mask over his face, was asphyxiated, and crushed to death.
And all this mace and stuff was, all these chemicals were sprayed on him.
Yeah.
He was choking.
Exactly.
And some of the words I heard that he said he was begging for his life.
I can't breathe.
His mom said there was a part in there where the people said he was doing this mumble jumbo. His mom said, no, he was praying in Hebrew.
Yeah.
There was no mumble jumbo. He was praying to Hebrew, to God for his life.
Again,
none of that mattered to them.
It's incredible that it didn't. Like I said, it was so selective in which these people were joining in, and like you had to stand alone, which again makes it insane that we got to this place. But I would just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for fighting for this. You didn't have to. You took it on. Those people like that immediately get my attention, because the odds are stacked against you, and people are going to either mock you, make fun of you, or attack you. But you didn't even, or ignore you.
They did.
Yeah, but you still stuck it out, and not only that, you formed a relationship, of course, with this mother, which shows that again, if this would happen to anywhere else, at least people know, Barbara Fair is the place that we need to go, because she will go to the ends of the earth to step up for you. So I commend you. I love you for doing it. And thank you so much for coming here on the program. Is there anything else you want to tell everybody just to support you? Go to your website.
Just support our work. And, when things like this happen, don't wait until it happens to your child.
Yeah.
Because what you may not know is this one was got into public.
Yeah.
How many other people have been beaten to death behind bars that no one knows about?
Yeah.
So you have to take a stand on something.
Yeah. I totally appreciate you doing that. And thank you so much for coming in.
And thank you for inviting me.
Mo, it's my pleasure. Your beautiful daughter came in as well. I told her, I said, you can't sit outside. You got to say, your mama going to be on the radio. You got to come here and witness that. You ain't take no pictures? Take some pictures of mama on the radio. That's important. You got to make mama feel good.
That's right. Get your camera.
Yeah, get your camera. You're not going to take a picture?
She said she already got me.
Oh, you did take some pictures. I knew it. I told you she had to be in here. Barbara Fair, again, thank you. Keep in touch, okay? Whenever you need anything, you let me know, okay? First person, you let me know. Don't worry about those knuckleheads. I got your back, okay? Okay. No matter what it is, I'll put you on the phone or I'll get you in here in the studio. I got your back, okay? And everything, I mean this, if there's anything that everyone can say about me, I am 100% loyal to my friends and my associates. Yeah. So I'm putting you on that list, Barbara Fair.
Okay, I'm going to put you on my integrity list because that's the one thing that's missing.
Damn right.
In Connecticut.
You know what?
Integrity.
Damn right. Integrity. Damn right. Barbara Fair, ladies and gentlemen. Check her out. Help her out at StopSolitaryCT.org. Again, StopSolitaryCT.org. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher's out, so we got Tom O'Hanlon. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app. Search WTIC News Talk 1080 and tap earlier today to get started.
Let's give my friend Craig in the car 2.5 minutes to opine about my interview with Luke Bronin. Can you do it in 2.5?
God bless you, brother. I could do it in 2.5 hours, too, so you pick.
Go ahead. What did you want to say? You would die. You were chomping at the bit.
Oh, this guy. I had my original topic, and then he kept bringing up more. So I want to know when he sends a bill to Canada for the air quality where I can't see the sky by my records is the 4th summer in a row.
Yeah.
Mr. Global Climate Change and Environment, I can't see the blue sky. Hello, it's all smoke from Canada. Send them a bill. Jesus. So I have to ask you a question.
Yes.
So what's my fair share, Reese?
Oh, I don't know. According to you, your fair share is 33 1/3.
All right. So I have the math to back it up. So let's do a hypothetical, and I'm going to break Rush's rule that math doesn't work on radio. But let's keep it really simple. Let's take a household income of $300,000 and a household income of $50,000.
Yep.
When you look at taxes, how many $50,000 income households does it take to pay the same amount of taxes for the $300,000?
Oh my goodness, that's such a great point, because the $300,000 at the 33% works roughly in and around just over $94,000.
All right. So in order to pay the same taxes a $300,000 income household pays at $50,000, you need 15 households.
That's right.
Because we have a progressive tax.
Right.
The more money you make, the more money you pay. So now you need 15 households to pay the same amount of taxes as a $300,000 household does at $50,000 a year. What's the average cost to educate a child in the state of Connecticut? And I'm talking about Connecticut because that's the state this guy's running in.
Oh, okay. I know that number, but I got to put you on hold for that because you're making a very good point. Oh, that's such a great. I see you. I see where you're going here. I see where you're going here. It's so wow. This is a brilliant point of view. Hold on.
I'm along for the ride.
You got it.
For the ride.
Stand by. Good. He's making a really, really good point. I want you to hear this on the other end, so stand by. Let's get into another check of weather and traffic. Tom O'Hanlon. What? Not yet. He's not ready yet. What? Tom O'Hanlon's not here? Oh, it's not there yet. Okay, so we're still waiting on that. I could have just continued with Craig then, for that matter. It's okay. I'm sure he's working on it. We're going to get to him in a second because I also got Stan McCauley on the line, so I want to get to him as well. So, Stan, please be patient. I promise. Before we get out of here, I'll get to you as well and the rest of the phone calls. I got Joe in Simsbury. Got to get to him as well. I get to all of them, I promise, when we get back. Now he's here. Tom O'Hanlon filling in for Mark Christopher and the BPS Lawyers Traffic. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Okay, when we last left off, Craig in the car was explaining how many people who make $50,000 a year it takes to pay up to the amount that one person making $300,000 a year. And we've determined it would be 14 people. Craig, go on.
All right, it's households. It's not people.
All right, so households. Yeah, fine. Yes,
households. So it's 14.7. Let's call it 15.
Okay.
Right? So that's on the income side, paying taxes, local, federal, etc. Right? That's the tax burden. $50K versus $300K.
Correct.
You got to have 50. You got to have 15 that make 50 to make up for the 300.
That's right.
Now, let's look at education. Let's look at the expenditure side.
Right.
What does it cost in Connecticut to educate a child?
Is it well over $25,000 a year per kid?
$25,000. So that family that has 2 kids at $25,000 a year is a tax burden on that town in the state for $50,000.
Wow.
And that assumes that they're not sending any of those kids to private school.
That's right.
Right. So let's take the $50,000 a year income family. How many kids do they have? 15 times 2 is 30. At $25,000 a year, do the math. That's a $750,000 tax burden to educate the kids.
Damn.
That's just education. It doesn't talk about the burden on the police, the fire, all the infrastructure.
Yep.
And here's what it comes down to. And just the math just hit me. Democrats don't want us.
No.
Because the more people they have that are making $50,000 a year, the more likely they are to have voters. Because the $300,000 a year people are trying to protect their income, protect their investments, and they're not voting for Luke Bronin.
Exactly right. And again, look, I couldn't believe he said that someone making $1 million should give 40% of their pay. That was higher than what Barack Obama wanted to do with 39.6%.
Yeah. People making $1 million. Well, in $1 million in Connecticut, it's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
We could have that argument.
Yeah, exactly.
These people are beating feet to South Carolina and Georgia and Florida, and Arizona and Texas.
Exactly.
I'm not going to, and I can tell you this from personal experience, pal. I am not paying Luke Bronin, and I'm not paying the government of Connecticut 50% of my income in combination with the federal taxes to retire.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. The weather sucks. I got Canadian smoke. I'm going south.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the time, pal.
You got it. Let's go to Mr. Stan McCauley, who's on the line. Thanks for holding, Stan. What's going on, sir?
Incredible interview with the former mayor of Hartford.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
He avoids the one thing that will reveal him the most, which is just a regular conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But thus was revealed today the true authoritarian.
Yes.
Under the guise of democracy, under the guise of him being a representative, he denies being a representative.
Yep.
And tells everybody that it is his sovereign responsibility and duty to make decisions that he believes are best for his constituents. It was stunning. Stunning.
I am so glad you brought that up because, again, as I'm explaining it to him, there's something in my head that's going, does Luke Bronin not understand Civics 101? That, again, his role is to be a representative. Is he thinking that's just a title that does not have a distinction? To say that he believes that what people are electing him to do is for him to decide on his own what they want.
Absolutely. And therein is the real authoritarian.
Yes.
Because, of course, we don't know better. How can we possibly know what we want?
Yeah.
I was sitting there with you, looking sideways at him, trying to figure out, does he hear himself? He was conflicted. He was visibly conflicted, and I've had plenty of opportunity to sit and have conversations with Luke. He was visibly moved and conflicted because you had him backed up against the wall.
Yes. Again, look, I never thought that such a basic question could be lost on someone who wishes to be a legislator and not understand the basic. And the thing that threw me, Stan, was he said that we used to do that. saying that that's not his role. That used to be our role, but the role is different now. Now we are elected to decide on our own what our constituents or what's best for them. Or as he put it, the common good. And I said, and I knew it. There was something in me when he said the common good. I'm like, who determines what the common good is? And when he was lost on that question, I went, you don't understand what that means?
He determines what the common good is. And then the ultimate hypocrisy is, whether you like Trump or not, if what he says is true, then Trump was elected to do whatever he feels is in the best interest.
Applaud.
That's where he was jammed up. He was jammed up because his own words betray him.
So true. That's right. Again, if anything, the mandate, like that's what Trump is always run on. I have a mandate to do these things as it relates to immigration or this or that and the third. And here's a guy who says that in his case or in his belief that is authoritarian. But then when asked whether or not he represents his own constituents locally, he just looked at me like I had three heads. Well, it's what we used to do.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
It is. Stan, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the compliment and thank you for listening, man.
Ciao, ciao.
You got it. Now let's go to Simsbury Joe. God bless you, buddy. Thank you for holding on for so long.
Thank you. First of all, if I had four thumbs, all of them would be up for Barbara Fair.
Yeah.
That's incredible what she has done.
Yeah.
But I'll give two thumbs up for Craig in the car and Stan because they both nailed it. So I'm just going to make one general comment about Luke Bronin and then get to my main reason for my call today.
Yes, sir.
So he's supposedly the guy who understands AI, and he's going to be the guy who's, in the best place to help our country go down this path. And the fact is, he then made a statement. He said, we're going to need a lot more teachers. There is no way that we are going to need a lot more teachers as AI develops.
Right.
Children will be taught in the classroom using AI. Yep. It will reduce the number of teachers that are needed. There is no doubt whatsoever. There's not one person who knows AI who says anything other than that.
That's right.
So basically what he's already telling people is, I'm going to do a lot more spending for a lot more teachers that won't be necessary because in about 2 years, AI will be able to sit there on a kid's laptop and with a teacher's assistance, but guide that individual student in areas that individual student struggles in, which will be different from what the areas that the kid to the right and the kid to the left struggle. So he's just full of baloney, although he has mastered the art of never taking a breath between sentences to
you notice I had to
say anything.
I had to push him. I was just like, okay, I get it. You're going to filibuster in this one.
Yeah, he was rude, but I give him credit for showing up.
Yeah.
He's not in my district. Eventually, I think the guy's going to end up being the congressman, but Stan nailed it. He at least admitted he's a progressive, and he pretty much admitted without saying it he's an authoritarian.
Indeed.
So speaking of authoritarians, Donald Trump. So about 3 weeks before the 4th of July, I called up and I said, I'm going to put my whole reputation out there. I am 100% certain that within 2 weeks of the 4th of July, Donald Trump will come out to the nation and he will talk about the election steal in 2020.
Yep.
And lo and behold, tomorrow night, and you're already, Dave Mager, and
I heard him.
Can't say anything about him because he's Donald Trump will expand on the conspiracy. It's like, are you kidding me, dude? He's going to have the head of DNI, DHS, CIA, FBI standing there with him because the elections were messed with. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
The two senators from Georgia, both Democrats, are there illegitimately. We've had 250 FBI agents in Fulton County over the last couple of weeks, and they were given a deadline of July 17th. They probably finished their work already.
Yep.
And he's trying to save elections. And now we're going to really see, after this information comes out, who's an American, meaning do you want the best for America? And best for America could be something that I totally disagree with from a policy standpoint. But you want the best for America. And the best for America is that we have a system where the Luke Bronins of the world across the country, if they've got the better ideas, then they legitimately get elected.
Exactly.
And we need to do a better job with our ideas. But when you're going to have a country that steals elections, when you're going to have people that are paid off by foreign governments, when you're going to have Democrats that are violating every aspect of election integrity, including people in our state, say, oh, we don't have to turn over those records. You're full of baloney. You are not American. And we're going to have things are going to be very different after tomorrow night. And I hope that he goes to the networks and tells them, you are all covering this.
Let me play this.
I don't want it to just be on Fox News.
Let me play this for you because I know you saw this. I didn't see you post it, but I know you saw this. Her name is, Alyssa Slotkin. She was speaking at some event where she was talking about the Save America Act. And this is from Breitbart. And I want to play this for you because this dovetails into what you're talking about. And it's so brilliant because, again, the Luke Bronins are going to have to come up with good ideas in order to be elected. But listen to this.
The other thing that we blocked yesterday was the SAVE Act, right? Which was literally allow this administration to rig our democracy so that it would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election.
She flat out admitted it, that the SAVE Act would make it difficult for any Democrat to win any election in the United States. What an admission.
You know, what we're going to hear about tomorrow night, and it's probably going to be Venezuela and China and potentially Serbia interfering with the data that is in the voting machines. And there's overwhelming proof of that.
Yeah.
When someone hears that, do you really think, and I'm going to try to be respectful in how I say this, if they show tomorrow night the evidence that this has occurred and the evidence that the Joe Biden administration covered it up while they had, the special counsel spying on 12 GOP senators after January 6th.
Talking about Jack Smith, right?
Jack Smith. If you think I give a damn that it's inconvenient for you because you're a divorced woman to go fix that so that way you can vote while other countries are screwing with our numbers,
yeah, man.
I don't give a damn about you. You can go to rot in hell as far as I'm concerned.
You know, I would put it to this way.
Like I said,
if you're a divorced woman, November's a couple of months away. Go get that straightened out now.
Oh, they're all over Facebook saying, oh, do you not realize how difficult it is? It's disenfranchising. Okay. Well, now when we figure out, or we're told that Venezuela through Smartmatic and China potentially, and Serbia was mixing with votes on satellites, when we hear that, I don't care that it's inconvenient for you. You are either an American or you are not. If you're not, get the hell out.
Yeah, I agree, boss. Hey, like I said, these women need to get off their smartphones and get down to whatever agency to fix their divorce records.
Yeah.
You know, get them now.
Yeah, inconvenient.
Exactly, because democracy is at stake. You're not going
to... They'll love it when millions of Chinese who were born in birthing factories in the United States are voting in our elections from Shanghai.
No doubt.
And basically determining everything because they're such constitutional wizards. That's why I really think after tomorrow, things have to change in this country.
Well, I couldn't agree. I can't wait to see what the evidence is, if indeed it is, it's displayed. Thank you, Simsbury. I appreciate you, boss.
Thank you very much.
You got it. Simsbury Joe, ladies and gentlemen. Damn, we had him. That's a pretty big show today. You know what? I thank you all. Mark from West Hartford is Mark Walsh Reports. Don't forget to check him out on X. And he's covering that story in West Hartford with the Portobello restaurant. And get more details on it. It's nasty. And I want to thank Barbara Fair and Luke Bronin for coming on the program today. Tomorrow, I don't think I have anybody scheduled. Let me just double check. I'm going to look at my calendar before we get out of here. Yeah, I feel like I had everybody today, right? No, we don't have anybody scheduled today, but Thursday we've got Peter Lamage. He's going to be here on Thursday. And then Friday we've got Mike Grosso, who I just met for the first time, I think, just the other day. Sunday, Saturday or Sunday. I just met him, but he's going to be also here in the studio. So stand by for that. It's time for me to get up out of here. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, a pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here at 2 p.m. Don't be late. Opening monologue.